Hey guys, Cloudy Hayes back for another video. The War Within is in full swing, and Season 1 is right around the corner. In this video, I'm going to go over the fastest and easiest ways to get Crests and Valorstones. I'm also going to share a loophole with you guys on how you can access Valorstones on demand, and get them in your bags in just a matter of seconds. When upgrading your gear, you need Crests and Valorstones to do so, but unfortunately, we cannot hold an infinite amount of either. You can only have a maximum of 2,000 Valorstones at any given time. But the good thing about Valorstones, unlike Crests, is that there isn't a seasonal maximum, meaning when we spend our 2,000 Valorstones, we can just go out and farm more right away. But with Crests, there's a seasonal maximum. Once we hit that max and spend all of our Crests, we cannot get any more Crests until the following week. Each week, the seasonal maximum for Crests goes up by 90. Currently, we only have easy access to two types of crests, weathered and carved crests. Weathered crests are used to upgrade gear from 580 to 593 item level. Weathered crests are also used to make enchanted weather crests, which is an item used to craft 590 item level gear. Then, carved crests are used to upgrade gear from 590 to 606 item level. When it comes to carved crests, I do recommend you save all your carved crests for when Season 1 goes live. Mainly because you're going to replace most of your gear the first day or two Season 1 goes live, and you're going to need those carved crests to upgrade that gear. But of course, do whatever works for you, as this is only a recommendation. Let's talk about all the ways you can get Valorstones and how you can get them on demand and have them in a matter of seconds for when you need them. The first way, and probably the fastest and easiest way to get Valorstones, is by farming odd globs of wax. Recently, this topic has blown up and is the hottest thing out right now for farming Valorstones. At first, it was a very lucrative gold farm as well, but Blizzard quickly shut that shit down. But on a positive note, it still gives a lot of Valorstones and some resources along the way, which could be sold for some gold, but not a whole lot. I'm going to go over this Valorstone farm technique step by step so you guys can do it on your own. If you already know this method, I still recommend watching this section, as I'm going to share with you guys some of the best routes for farming the odd globs of wax, as well as some tips and tricks along the way. Okay, so first things first, in the Ringing Deeps there are two NPCs located in the main city of Gundargaz. You can find them in this building here, Nabbles and Middles. NPC Nabbles offers various items and rewards you can purchase using a currency called Firelight Ruby. You get one Firelight Ruby for every 50 odd globs of wax you turn into the other NPC Middles. It requires 5 globs of wax to make one donation. Every 10 donations, you get a Firelight Ruby. Then you can use the rubies to purchase rewards from Nabbles. Each reward costs 1 ruby, but every time you contribute 5 odd globs of wax to Middles, you get 10 Valorstones. Every single time, no matter what. So for turning in 50 globs of wax, or 10 contributions, you will get 100 Valorstones. In order to get odd globs of wax, you have to find a thing called Disturbed Earth, which you can find all over Khazalgar. You also get Valorstones every single time you loot a Disturbed Earth, 1 to 2 each time. So after looting 100 piles of Disturbed Earth, you have already accumulated a few hundred Valorstones. Then you turn in your wax and get another few hundred. Odd globs of wax are all over the place and very easy to find. If you don't have access to make these contributions, then that means you need to do the intro quest to unlock the vendors. This only takes 5 to 10 minutes tops, and just a few quests. You can find the quest at the same NPC here. Before you start farming, do make sure you have it unlocked, otherwise you won't be able to see the Disturbed Earth, as they only become available to farm if you have it unlocked. Let's talk about where we can find these globs of wax. You can find these odd globs of wax in all 4 zones of Khazalgar. As you're flying around, you'll see piles of dirt called Disturbed Earth. When you see a Disturbed Earth pile, all you do is just land and click it. After clicking the Disturbed Earth, different things will happen. You might have to defeat a monster, bounce on a blob 10 times, fly into the air and collect wax while falling, run around and catch flying wax, run around and squash bugs, or maybe you just get lucky and nothing happens and you get to loot the wax for free. There are at least 10 different variations of things that can happen from clicking these Disturbed Earths. None of these are very hard either, all of which will reward you with 1 to 5 globs of wax depending on the encounter. Some of the monsters are harder to kill than others, but none of these will be a challenge and you won't have any issues killing them. Sometimes you might aggro other mobs nearby, which can cause more of a challenge, so just be careful when looting the Disturbed Earths not to pull everything nearby. Another thing to note, as you're flying around looking for globs of wax, you will see the Disturbed Earth highlighted in purple, making it much easier to spot. If for any reason you cannot see the purple outline, then there is a simple fix in your graphics setting. Just simply press Escape, go to Options, then at the bottom in the system settings, click on Graphics. Then scroll down a little bit until you see outline mode. Make sure this is turned on. Good or high, both work just fine. Another tip for finding the disturbed Earth is to set your flight style to steady flying instead of skywriting. The reason for this is because when you're skywriting, you're moving so damn fast, and you can't hover to scan an area for the disturbed Earth. From my experiences, using skywriting, I tend to miss some of them because I'm flying so fast and I can't get a good look around the area. They literally are all over the place, and there's no need to fly so fast between them. Sometimes there are 3 to 4 within walking distance of each other, and I don't even need to mount up. So with that said, using steady flying will help you find the disturbed Earth a little bit easier. But if you are a pro and you have it down to a science, I'm sure skywriting will be much faster, but there's still a chance to be missing wax and flying right over those disturbed Earths. Now we're going to talk about some great routes and places for farming odd globs of wax. First place I like to farm is in the Ringing Deeps. I just start in the main city of Gundergaz and work my way to the Warrens and circle around, cutting across to the other side of the map, as you see here on my screen. I don't normally do more than one loop in the Ringing Deep, as it seems to be harder to find the wax, just from my experience anyways. But I always do this loop first, and then I head to Hallowfall. Once I get to Hallowfall, this is the route I normally do here. I fly into the zone, zigzagging, making my way across the map, staying on the grassy areas and fields, trying to avoid the water areas. Then, once I get to the other side of the map, I'll cut across and go north and head to the lights blooming area. Here you see I put a circle on the map. That's because I tend to find a lot of wax in this area. All around the farms and fields you will see tons of disturbed Earth, so I usually fly from farm to farm and circle that area 3 to 4 times before moving on. It seems they respawn very fast, and almost as they're respawning under your feet here. Once I'm done with this area, I normally have about 150 to 200 or more, and the entire route takes me 45 minutes to an hour depending on how thorough I was. You can easily farm 150 to 200 globs of wax per hour or more, depending on how fast you are. Then on top of that, you get Valorstones every time you loot a disturbed Earth. Between looting the Earth to turning in the wax, you're looking at 600 plus Valorstones per hour. You just can't beat that. I personally avoid Ashkahet for farming wax because the whole damn zone is already purplish and it makes it harder for me to spot the Earths. One last thing before we move on to the other sources for finding Valorstones. I mentioned before a loophole for how you can access Valorstones on demand whenever you want. When Season 1 comes out, you're going to start getting tons of upgrades pretty quickly. Even if you're capped at 2,000 Valorstones, you're going to blow through those in just a few upgrades, and it could take you many hours to farm another 2,000. But if you farm a lot of the globs of wax ahead of time, you can pull these out and use them when you need. Remember, for every 5 globs of wax you get, you can turn that into 10 Valorstones. So with that said, you technically can save up as many Valorstones as you want. You could farm 2,000 globs of wax, and that would be 4,000 Valorstones. And then if you have 2,000 Valorstones saved up already, you could go into Season 1 with 6,000 Valorstones if you really wanted to. But that might be an overkill because you need the crests to go with the Valorstones, and you would end up running out of crests before you ran out of Valorstones. But this is a great way to have extra Valorstones on deck ready to go for when Season 1 goes live. Another source for finding Valorstones is by doing world quests. If you have the add-on World Quest Tracker, it will show you all the world quests on the map that reward Valorstones. You won't get tons of Valorstones by doing quests, but it does all add up. I just got 40 Valorstones just from doing this one world quest that took me 1 minute to complete, so they're definitely worth doing. Then we have normal and heroic dungeons. You can run as many normal and heroic dungeons as you want to get Valorstones, as they do not have a lockout, and you get gear along the way. But running dungeons will definitely take longer to build up a lot of Valorstones. But if you need gear, then running dungeons won't be a bad idea. You get 30 Valorstones and 10 weathered crests from completing a heroic dungeon, and you get 15 Valorstones from completing a normal dungeon. So obviously a heroic is the better choice for better loot and double the Valorstones, but you do need to be 551 item level in order to queue for heroic. So as long as you're over 551 item level, definitely run heroics so you can get more Valorstones and better gear. When running dungeons, you can complete about 3 per hour on average, and more if you're in a coordinated group. So about 90 to 120 Valorstones per hour if you're running heroic dungeons. But as soon as Season 1 goes live, we will replace heroics with mythic dungeons instead, as long as you have the gear for it, otherwise just work your way up. There are other ways to get your hands on Valorstones other than farming wax, doing world quests, and running dungeons. You could also get Valorstones from running delves, and also participating in the open world events. Delves don't really give you a whole lot of Valorstones, but like I said, every little bit adds up. And as it goes for the events, these are great ways to get Valorstones. Each zone has different world events, such as Spreading the Light event in Hallowfall and the Awakening the Machine event in the Ringing Deeps. When Season 1 goes live on September 10th, there will be more ways to obtain Valorstones, such as clearing the new raid Nurabar's Palace. But for now, let's get into how we can easily get our hands on crests to make sure we're capped going into Season 1. Starting with weather crests. First thing is first, if you're ever wondering where you can find a particular crest, just press C on your keyboard to open your currency tab and highlight over the crest you want to know about. The tooltip will tell you where you can acquire them. One of the best ways to get weather crests is by flying through blue orbs, kinda similar to the green orbs from the Dream Surge event in Dragonflight. These blue orbs can be found in one zone at a time. Each day the zone resets and the blue orbs will move to a different zone. Flying through one blue orb rewards 1 to 2 weather crests and also gives you 1 resonance crystal. You might be thinking only 1 to 2 crests, that's not very much. And it's not, but you can find tons of orbs very quickly. I went from 40 to 90 crests in a matter of minutes. You can basically fully cap out and weather crests in just a few minutes. All you have to do is fly around the zone that the orbs are in and fly through them. They tend to spawn under bridges, up high on top of buildings, or just about anywhere off the ground. Once in a while, you will see one on the ground level, but for the most part, just have skywriting on and blast around and you will find them. Look all over the place and trust me, you'll find them no problem. The best way to go from orb to orb is by finding your next orb as you're about to fly through one. As I'm about to fly through this orb here, as you see on my screen, I'm turning my camera and scanning for another one before I hit this one. I try to know where I'm going next before I hit my orb. Sometimes you won't find one, and you'll just have to keep looking, but there are plenty of orbs all around the zone. If you're not sure which zone the orbs are in at any given time, just fly zone to zone until you see the orbs. You won't miss them, and you will cap out very quickly with this method. Another way you can get a chunk of weather crest is by hitting Renown 6 with all 4 of the renowned factions, exception of the Severed Threads, which requires Renown 7. Once you get to the required renown for each faction, you can pick up a satchel of weather crests containing 15 crests. So that's an easy 60 crests right there. The great thing about these crests is that they don't count towards a seasonal maximum, meaning they're basically free crests. They will end up in your bags as clickable items. Save them for when you really need them. As it goes for weather crests, you can also get your hands on them by participating in many outdoor world activities, but honestly the best and fastest way to get them is by flying through those blue orbs. There's nothing that will come close to matching that. Once Season 1 goes live, you will also be able to earn them from heroic dungeons as well. Now let's talk about carved crests. Currently, since Season 1 is not live, it's a bit harder to get your hands on carved crests. Right now, one of the only sources for getting carved crests is through the major weekly quests and events, so we are pretty limited in terms of farming them. So make sure to get all the major events done around the zones. We also can get carved crests from Renown as well. You get a satchel of 15 for hitting Renown 11 with both Council of Dornegal and the Assembly of the Deeps. Hallowfall Arathi requires you to be Renown 16 to unlock the carved satchel, and Severed Threads requires Renown 12. But that is another 60 carved crests once you get your Renown up. Hitting Renown 11 is very doable for many players before Season 1 goes live, but hitting Renown 16 will be a lot of grinding. But once Season 1 goes live, we will have access to a lot more carved crests. We will be able to get them from Nurabar's Palace on normal, Mythic 0 dungeons, and Mythic Plus dungeons up to a +3. So any carved crest you do come across, I recommend saving so you can upgrade higher gear when Season 1 goes live. After Season 1 does go live, I will make an updated version of this video since there will be a lot of new content coming out and new techniques for getting our hands on Valorstones and crests, as well as 2 additional crests we don't have access to yet, Runed Crests and Gilded Crests. I really do hope this video was helpful, and hopefully it will make your life a little bit easier when it comes to upgrading your gear. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it really helps the channel grow. I really do appreciate everybody's support this far. As always, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Cloudy Haze out. I just need to know what's on your mind. Tell me what you need and you can call my name, I'll be around. Safe